but feel free to ask questions as we move through this. Um, Daniel, you're fairly new, you said?
Yeah, I joined the brokerage like a couple months ago.
Okay. Any listings, any buyers yet?
I had one buyer, potential buyer. So I had a one showing, and I just giving the information to buyer, the potential buyer, but I think he just wanna wait until everything is settled in terms of just like pandemics and political parties and stuff. So he said he's gonna probably actively looking next year springtime. So
Okay. All right. And Danielle, I don't think you've had a listing yet, have you?
No, I haven't had a listing yet. I had an accepted offer, my first one last week. And then the offer that I'm currently working on, but I have not had any listings. I did one of Ryan's clients, I showed them a home and found a home for them when he was camping. So I got part of the commission for that. So there's things in the works.
Well, good. Good. Well, hopefully we'll give you enough of a foundation here with the listing side to help you move forward when you get that opportunity. How's that?
Yes, I've been wondering, and trying to figure out ways to get listings, because it's time to kind of focus on that side, or get my feet in the waters on that side to kind of get a feel for what that's like.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. It's a different side of the coin. That's all I can tell you. I just came from a broker open. We may have an interested party, so I'm keeping my fingers crossed on that one. So the sellers have been wonderful to work with and have done everything that I've asked them to do. And that makes a big difference too. So anyway, all right.
Jim, I have a question. So what is a broker opens?
There are two different types of open houses. One is for the public, and that's usually on a Saturday or a Sunday or a Thursday during drive time. And that's for John Q. Public to come by. The purpose of that is for you as the agent holding it open is to find new clients, whether they're going to be buyer or seller clients. And of course, a byproduct is if somebody walks in and says, I want to buy this house, we generally let them. So it's a way of finding new buyers and sellers. The broker open house is for our fellow agents. 4 agents came through today that had not really looked at or considered this particular property. And they went, wow, that's a great price. This is such a super location. And one guy said, whips out his phone. He said, give me the address again. And he said, okay, I just sent the listing over to one of my potential buyers. So it's a way of generating additional activity on a listing to get other agents excited and knowledgeable about the property.
Okay, so one is just for general public and another one is only for the agents.
Yeah. Now, if somebody from the public walked in and said, oh, gee, this is a nice little property, I would certainly sell it to them. But the focus is primarily to help the other agents become more aware of the property.
Gotcha.
All right.
So I
Okay.
kind of have a question relating to that too. So
Sure.
I have been looking, I actually just emailed you too before this. I've been looking to host more open houses. With Ryan, I set a goal to do 1 to 2 a week. And I've been doing the same home the past few weeks in Excelsior, because that's the only one that we can currently find that people are offering for me to hold the open. So if you could keep me in mind, or if you know of anyone that ever needs help with an open, I'm willing to do those.
Well, here's one other thing that you can do, Danielle. You can put a posting out on the internal Facebook page.
Yeah, I've done that every week too.
Okay.
The past few weeks. I just think people have a lot of buyers right now, or they're holding their own opens, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the other thing too is you can always pull up a list of all of our listings. Just go to multiple lists, plug in the broker number, and pull up all the listings and scroll through and say, ooh, there's an interesting one, and contact the listing agent and say, can I hold it open for you? That's just being proactive.
Yeah, that I haven't even thought about doing that. That's actually a good idea. I'll do that later when I get off this call.
Okay, and just remember, the purpose is not to sell that particular property, although you might, but it's to meet new potential buyers and new potential sellers. That's your objective, and to get an appointment.
Yes, and to practice and get experience.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Shall we start with, I can share a screen and do like we did the last time, Danielle, with moving this over a little bit, a listing checklist. So when you do have a listing appointment, this will give you an idea of a track to run on. Then I have access to the Instanet forms, and I'll walk you through the listing contracts, and we can do that. And I've also got pulled up and ready to show you my listing consultation. I don't want to say presentation, it's a consultation. All right, move forward. Yes, no?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. You can leave yourself unmuted, that's fine.
Okay.
This is the checklist that my partner and I use. So we always have the address, owner information, all in one place, so we don't have to keep searching through it unless they're already in your database. The appointment date. Before I go, I always pull up public tax record to see what did they pay for it, what does it look like, what's the square footage. I'll look to also see whether there's a prior listing, and I can look at the photos. I can get a better idea of what the property is all about, because then that will help me with my preliminary market analysis. The listing consultation, I'll share with you in a little while. I always do a preliminary market analysis. I don't know the condition of the house. I don't know what improvements they've made, but I can look at what comparable properties in the immediate area have sold for. So I've got a pretty good ballpark of whether I'm in the 400s or the 300s. So Danielle, you're also going to need your agency disclosure, whom agents represent. There are 2 Keller Williams disclosures. Those are also in the Instanet forms. The seller property condition disclosure or disclosure alternative, you always have to have. If the house is built prior to 78, lead paint. Depending on your municipality, you may have a TISH report. Now, bear with me. Should have this up. There are, I don't know if you can see this. It's a long list. It is for the truth in sale of housing disclosure. And there are a whole list of all the municipalities that require an inspection prior to listing.
That's the TISH report you said?
This is the TISH report. So Crystal has it, Bloomington has it, Hopkins, Maplewood, Mendota Heights does not, Minneapolis does, New Hope. So, check this to make sure that you don't have to go getting an inspection by the city.
Yeah, my buyer that is buying in New Hope, we have our inspection tomorrow, and they have one. But obviously, that's on the listing side.
Yep. So what you do is you publish those into the multiple list under what is known as supplements. So listing contract, the exclusive listing contract. I prepare a binder, and it's a 3-ring binder that I put all sorts of information about the house, public tax record, the TISH report if I had one, the property disclosure, a copy of the listing, any information, any and all information that will help a buyer and an agent. I leave that in the house. I do it for two reasons. One, to keep them in the house longer, so they mentally start to place their furniture. And two, it's a lot cheaper than putting together a whole bunch of binders and folders and other nonsense that's just eating up a lot of paper that gets thrown out as soon as they clean out the backseat of their car. So it's just a more efficient way of providing information to the buyers as they are standing there in the kitchen looking at the property. Get a KW folder with your business card. Also have the MLS input form ready, and the coming soon and or withhold form. Because when I go on a listing, again, I don't know which one I'm going to need. If they're ready to list immediately, fine, I'm ready to go. But if they've got some painting that they need to finish doing or cleaning out or decluttering, depending on how long that's going to take them, coming soon, you can go up to 21 days. With the withhold, there is no time limit. Okay. So I take both with me, and just in case. I also take a brochure, the HMS homeowner's warranty brochure. Danielle, you should have had one put in your mailbox.
Yep.
Okay. So in the back, it gives you an idea of what items are covered. And here's the application form. Buyer can pay for it or seller can pay for it. But I use it as a marketing tool that provides peace of mind to the buyer. And it's a liability reduction tool for the seller and for us agents.
So can I actually ask you a question about Cinch?
Yeah.
So I purchased my home from Ryan in August, and we have Cinch, and I feel like I don't know what they're there for because our dishwasher broke, so they came out and fixed it, but we had to pay $100 for them to come out, and then we had to pay like another $150 for them to like fix everything. Is it more for like bigger repairs?
No, not necessarily. There is a deductible, and it depends on what policy the seller bought for you. There's either a $200 deductible or a $100 deductible. And if you have any questions, call our rep. Jennifer Gagney is wonderful. And let me pull up her contact information.
Yeah, Ryan actually just had like a situation go on with her where they weren't going to cover one of his clients. They moved into a house, and the furnace broke within like the first day, and they weren't going to cover it or do anything. And Ryan's like, if you don't like help us with this, like that's what you're here for. And they got a whole new furnace out of it.
Okay. Here, if you got a pencil and paper.
Yep.
Jennifer Gagne, Gagne, 612-267-7340. It's one of the reasons why I stick with HMS. It's because of Jennifer. She's a problem solver. She used to be an agent years ago, so she knows what it's like to be in our shoes.
Okay.
Okay. Now, depending on where your property is, if it's on public utilities, you don't need to worry about this. But if you're out in the boonies, you may have a well and a septic system, and that's going to require addenda. HOA docs or condo docs, if you can get them. The townhouse that I just came from, the HOA docs are 2.5 years old, but I had a question and I was able to reference the bylaws pretty quickly and get that agent an answer. The seller provides the resale package when there's a purchase agreement. Supra key box, I always use Supra. It gives you a record of who's going through, at what time, how long they stayed in the property. And it's a lot safer than the manual kind. Getting a key from the seller and then clarifying, showing instructions with the seller. Do they want to approve? Is it a show and go or a go and show? Do they have to approve it? You know, get all of that clear.
I have a question.
Yeah,
If you
Daniel.
decide to use Supra keybox instead of, the physical one,
Yeah.
are there extra costs for that?
With which the Supra?
Yeah.
Yeah, you buy those. They're about $90. And in my humble opinion, they're worth it. But if you don't have the cash right up front and you can get a good quality manual one, don't get the one with the little push buttons because they freeze up in the winter and you're sitting there breaking them. So that's my personal preference.
Is it $90 for like just one time, or is it so you can
Yep,
use it multiple
each
times?
each one, and then you can just take it from property to property. I own 4 of them, and so I can shuffle them around from property to property as the listings come and go. So they're transferable.
Okay.
But when you put it on a particular property, it has that particular property address on there. And when an agent shows it, you're notified. And then you can also tell how long that person's been in there. Wow, they were only in there 5 minutes. I guess they didn't like it. Wow, they were in there for an hour. They must like it. Going through the rest of the checklist, you can read through this. And if you want, I will get you copies of this checklist. It takes care of, negotiations, feedback, your counter offers, your pending, pre-close checklist, and then a new address, because I put them into a database so that I can follow up with them. All right. So if you guys want that, I will forward that over to you. So I'll stop sharing that one. And want to go to forms?
Yes.
Now what happened to that? No, it's down here someplace. Oh, I know why. Bear with me for 1 second while I minimize this. Get rid of that. And come back over to forms. All right. All right, screen share. Love this new technology. Okay, here we are. Danielle, Daniel, I assume you know how to get to these through MLS?
I have not.
Okay, when you go into MLS, they've got a new format. So it's under, I think it's tools, and it's like the first one down. So it's the Instinet forms. So you're going to have some forms for Keller Williams. Let me just bring those up. And it's right here, the disclosures and waivers. And the first one, it goes through, home inspection, it goes through warranties, and, whatever box is appropriate, you use the same form for buyers and sellers. So here's one for the sellers. Here's another one that both sign, more seller initial, and I pre-type this amount right in here for the broker admin. The broker administrative fee is $375. That's what the office will collect. If you were to charge $400, you make $25. If you charge $450, you can do the math. We charge $490 or $399. It's not a moneymaker for us. It's not why we do it. But it does pay for a couple of other little marketing things and get them to initial and then their signatures. The other one is a disclosure, because we have affiliated businesses, one with Minnesota Title, one with New American Funding, that's Tanya, and then of course Keller Mortgage. So it's just putting them on notice that we have these relationships. They don't have to use them, and get their signature that you did share that with them. Okay. I'm going to go fast. Going back to forms, scroll down to residential. And you can set up templates. Trying to think of her name. She comes in every once in a while and teaches a class. Almost
Mary?
had it. I think it's Alex.
Oh, Alex.
I think it's Alex. But you could set up all of these different templates. So they're all in alphabetical order. So if you're, whoops, I forgot which, we're talking about listings, aren't we? So we have listings. There's the exclusive right to lease, and here's the exclusive right to sell. They're one right above each other. Make sure you've got the most recent, which is August of 2020. So here you go. I always set it up with a new transaction so I can go back to it later and modify it if I have to. But this is the form itself. This is real easy. You click on that and it gives you the opportunity to plug in today's date or maybe tomorrow's date. Address, city, seller, the broker. It's Keller Williams Premier Realty, Lake Minnetonka. The print gets smaller because they've got to fit it all into that. Contract starts on this date. If you're not sure that they're going to list with you, leave it blank. You can write it in with pen. But if I know they're ready to go, I'm going to list it today. And if I have to use either the withhold or the coming soon, so be it. I'll have that as an addendum. And I go no shorter than, 6 months on a listing. You can go a year, but if a property is still hanging around after 6 months, something's wrong. Price, sometimes I know ahead of time, and lots of times I don't. And I won't have that discussion until I'm face to face with them and talking about the comparables and pricing strategies. And one of the things that I always do, and pardon the fingers, I say that every house is going to sell between here and here. Market value is here to here. And you have all of your comps. So maybe the comps are selling for between, 345 and 355. Okay. So there's your range. It's going to sell somewhere in there. And the strategy that I've been using lately is to go toward the bottom end of that range, which then generates a lot of showings, a lot of interest, and generally multiple offers. And each time I've used it, it's generated, a 5% or even a 10, or my last one was a 12% increase in the sales price over the original list price. So that one went for $525 on a 478 listing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So that's when we plugged it in. The IDX, it's going to be in multiple lists and it's going to be fed out. And one of the things that we have is a portal for Keller Williams listing system, KWLS. And it distributes it out to something like 400 different websites. And it's branded to us. So it's going to go out to Zillow. It's going to go out to Redfin. But when somebody searches, it's going to be listed under my name and my contact information. It's branded to me, not to somebody who's paying for an ad. All right. That's why I would never say, never encourage you to subscribe to Zillow, pay them to have your name listed on their website, and then have my listing, a lead on one of my listings, be sold to somebody else. That's what they do. That's how they make their money. So I want those leads to come back to me. I know the property. So continuing on down, I do want it displayed. So yes, I want the house number. Yes. I want the evaluation. Yes. Number 4, I do not want public comments out there. So that's a big no. I don't want people saying, "Oh, the carpet stunk like cat," or it was worn, or the toilet was all stained. I don't want those kinds of negative comments out there. So that's a big no. Is it listed for lease? Nope. And it may not be. Seller's obligation, obviously, is for them to maintain the property, keep the insurance, pay everything, the water bills, the HOA, keep it insured and in good condition. In the summer, I say, you got to keep mowing your lawn, keep weeding, and in the winter, shovel the doggone walkway in the driveway. You don't want the liability of somebody getting hurt. And number two, you want to make it easy for people to come and see the property. Compensation, broker's compensation. Okay, do we have a retainer fee? No, we don't. You could, but we don't. Line number 119 is broker's compensation. That's going to be my 6%. Now I can say that because we're both under the same brokerage and your licenses hang under mine as the broker. So I can say this. If I were in a public seminar, I couldn't say an amount. So this is where you plug in your 6%. If you want to charge more, charge 7%, charge 6.5. That's going into your pocket.
So for listings, it's 6, and then for buy, it's 3, right?
Nope. Coming down here to line 149, compensation to cooperating brokers, that's where the 2.7.
Or 2.7, I meant, excuse me.
Yeah, that is typical. Other parts of the country, it is split 50-50. So in Maryland, for example, it would be 3%.
Okay.
And nothing for anything other than a buyer's agent. You know, no facilitator. I'm not going to pay you. I'm not going to pay, somebody that's not going to be representing a buyer. So coming back up here, it's the 6%. And this is known as a tail. Line 134 is known as a tail. So that if and when the listing expires or is canceled, anybody that came through the property as a result of my efforts, you can see here, the maximum is 180 days or 6 months, so that they don't stiff me. I want to get paid. If somebody came through and bought because of my efforts over the next 180 days, I'm going to get compensated. Here's the 2.7% or a flat dollar amount. If you guys get involved with selling new homes, they may pay a commission, and it's usually the 2.7%, but it might just be on base price, not base price plus options to a higher sales price. Okay, because they're not making as much on the options. So don't be surprised if they say, well, we're only going to pay you on base price. When does it get paid? Well, we're going to get paid at closing. And then we talk about who's going to handle the closing. So if you come across, and if every once in a while, a seller may say, well, my aunt, my cousin, my sister-in-law works for a title company. I want her to handle that for me. Fine. Then 165 is checked. But if they say, I don't know anybody, then you trust me to use the best person? Yep. Check off 164. FERPTA is if the seller is a foreign person. By foreign person, meaning they're not citizens. What has happened in the past is a non-citizen sells a property, they leave and go back to wherever they came from, and they don't pay the capital gains tax. So Uncle Sam gets stiffed. So with FERPTA, if it is a foreign person, non-US citizen, I think it's 15% will be withheld at closing to make sure that the seller does pay their fair share of the capital gains.
I guess I don't understand that part, because maybe I'm just not understanding, but if they're not a US citizen, then how are they even able to own a house?
Well, they can own a house. You could go over to Italy tomorrow and buy a house, and you're not a citizen of Italy. So
Really?
you can buy a house,
Hmm.
and foreign people can buy houses. I used to work with a guy that did a lot of property management, and a lot of his clients came from Japan, and they were buying up real estate left and right. And you can do that. That is legal. It's on the other end when you go to sell it that Uncle Sam wants his cut of the capital gains. So that's
Okay.
where we have to notify. Okay. Don't worry about it now. If you run into a situation like that, just call me and I'll walk you through it. Agency representation. This is where the seller decides whether they will agree to dual agency or not. Now, this is redundant because we already had that conversation with the agency disclosure, remember? But we also have it in the listing contract. And what I say to them is, if you do not agree, I can't go back to my office and at the next sales meeting, tell everybody about your listing. And anybody in my office who is representing a buyer won't be able to show and sell your property because you've just declined dual agency. So my suggestion is we want the greatest amount of exposure and the most cooperation among agents. I want you to sign dual agency. I've never had one say, oh, well, I want to screw myself. No, they say, oh, okay, let's do it. All right. You had a question?
Nope, I didn't.
Oh, okay. And that's where we are. Other potential sellers, I do represent other clients. Double check to make sure that before you list it, the previous, if you're coming in with an expired listing, make sure that it is indeed expired, or that it has indeed been canceled. I was at a professional standards, the annual training program yesterday, and one of the case studies, the agent went and listed a property that was still listed with another broker. Needless to say, that was a no-no, and she had her hand slapped.
Jim, I have a
Didn't go to jail.
question.
What, Danielle?
He says you didn't go to realtor jail.
Yeah, you're going to go to realtor jail. The entire agreement, if you've got any questions, consult with an attorney. If you need one, I can give you a couple of good names. Electronic signatures are valid. And if there are any other crazy quirks to the listing, you've got space to throw it in there. For example, they want the listing contingent upon their finding another property first. Now that's going to hurt them in the marketing effort, but that is an example of an other kind of contingency that you could throw in there. Or the storage shed in the backyard does not remain. Or the freezer in the garage will not remain. Okay, so just make sure that you're very specific about what does and what does not stay with the property. That's why in that MLS input form, it's really critical to make sure that you are very, very, very accurate as to what is included or not. All right, we good on that? The wire fraud alert is the same one that we use with buyers. I always tell them, do not respond to an email or a text message about wiring funds without consulting me, without consulting the title company if it's in a pending status. You may end up sending your funds to a Cayman Islands offshore account and never see your money again. Okay. All right. Any questions on the listing contract?
I had a question on dual agency.
Yeah.
So you said is, just have them sign, they want the dual agency because, there's an advantage for them. So you can share that to your office people. But I'm just curious to know, do you also have to disclose that there's a possibility that the price might not be as high as, if it were to not, if the buyer, no, if the seller would not want the dual agency, because it's like, how dual agency works within the office.
Dual agency does not affect the price. It just affects your marketability and your ability to market to we've got 140 associates in our office. And you want to make sure that these very active, very knowledgeable associates in the Keller Williams, Lake Minnetonka umbrella are going to be promoting, showing, and selling and have a good transaction with you. So you want to not limit, you want to expand. Dual agency does not cost the seller anything additional. If they're agreed to pay 6%, 3.3 to the listing broker, 2.7 to the selling broker, it's still 6%. So it doesn't cost them anything.
So there's a disadvantage for the seller, like none.
Nope,
Okay.
nope, nope. And here's the form. I came back to it. The agency relationships, Minnesota law requires this. And this is strictly a disclosure, but it talks about our representing the seller, our representing the buyer. There's dual agency. There's a facilitator. And where I begin is with the fiduciary obligations. I said, when you hire me, these are my legal obligations to you. Loyalty, obedience, disclosure, yada, yada, yada. I go through them one at a time. And I stress lawful instructions, where it says obedience, all lawful instructions, disclosure. Don't tell me that I can't disclose something about the property because you just told me. I am under obligation now to disclose that. And so are you, by the way. And if they refuse and I say, nice knowing you, can't work for you. I cannot represent you under these conditions.
Have you ever had that happen?
Once, a long time ago. And they said, well, I don't want you to, no, I'm not going to jail because you want me to hide something. No, it doesn't work that way. I just refused. I walked away. I don't know what he ever did. I didn't care. I won't work with unethical people. All right, let's see. We've talked about the exclusive agency, the KW, lead paint. What else do you want to look at? Do you want to look at the lead paint? Do you want to look at the withhold? Do you want to look at coming soon?
There's
Sure.
forms for coming soon.
You want to talk about coming soon?
So you do have to fill out a form for that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's only if it's placed in coming soon, right?
Correct.
Okay.
All right, there's your lead-based paint. You may also, if there's an HOA, start talking to them about the HOA, what it includes, what it doesn't include. Seller property disclosure statement. Let's take a look at that little Hummer. So Danielle, to answer your question, if they can get the house ready within 21 days, you could do the coming soon. The advantage is that you can market it You can put a sign out there. You can put the rider underneath that says coming soon. You can put it into multiple list, coming soon. So it's getting all sorts of exposure. The one thing you cannot do, or you will get fined $1,000, you cannot show it. No one can go through that property, but you can market it. The withhold, and actually that's the one I've used on the last 3, maybe 4 listings, because some of these people have been in the house for 30 and 35 years. They had a lot of junk to get rid of, and flooring to replace, and walls to patch and paint. So I did a withhold. The difference with the withhold is I cannot market it, but I can go back to our office and I can say, hey guys, I've got this really cool listing coming up in Edina. It's going to be mid-4s. I can let you see it, but I can't market it to the outside world. It will not be in multiple lists. I cannot put a sign out there. I cannot put it in any social media. I can just market it inside the brokerage, and I can show it, but it's not going to get any other exposure. And chances are, if it needs that kind of work and decluttering, I don't want to show it anyway. And the other ones that I did with the withhold, there was no way that I wanted somebody walking through there. I mean, it was that bad. When it was all done, it was beautiful. And that's why on one, I had 40 showings in a day and a half, and I had 8 really good offers because the seller put the time and the effort into getting it ready. And we priced it aggressively.
Jim, question here. So when you said the market it, you can't market it, that means you can include pictures, right?
Are you talking about the withhold, or are you talking about the coming soon?
Coming soon.
Coming soon, you can put photos out there.
Okay, so it's just basic. It's just physically you cannot invite anyone there.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And I have had clients call me and say, Jim, there's a property here. It won't be available. What is today? The 8th. It won't be available until the 11th, which is Friday. Can we go see it around noon on Friday? I can schedule it for Friday at noon. Just go into showing time. I just can't show it ahead of time. Okay. So this is the property disclosure form. Every seller must fill this out, or the alternative. The alternative form is used if it's an estate sale and you've got an estate attorney, a trust attorney handling the estate. The attorney never lived there. He doesn't know anything about the property. Or if it's been used as a rental property and the landlord has never lived in it and she knows nothing about, this, that, or the other thing, so they would use an alternative. But if they've lived in the house, use the property disclosure. Do not fill this out for them. I'll say it again.
Question about that. So for like an investment property, obviously they haven't ever lived there before. They have renters that live there. And then they say that they're unaware of any wells or septic tanks. But when you go and look at it, you clearly know that there's one there. So are they just able to say that they don't know where it is because they haven't lived there and that's just the easier option?
Yeah, there are some sellers who are lazy, but if you in your inspection see evidence of a well or a septic system, my suggestion is call up the municipality. I wouldn't see Hopkins, maybe Maple Grove, or some more of the outlying properties. Some of the older properties in Minnetonka have had wells and septic systems. Deep Haven still have wells and septics. So call up the municipality and ask them to look up the records. And they can tell you whether it's still active, or they can tell you whether it's been capped and closed.
Okay, but they don't have to seal it though still then, right? Or do they?
That depends on the municipality.
Okay, because the home that I have a home inspection at tomorrow is in New Hope, and they said that they have no idea where the well is, but Ryan and I found it.
Okay. contact the municipality and see whether that has to be sealed or not.
Okay.
Okay, because everybody's got different rules and regs.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish there was a blanket, but there isn't.
Yeah.
So, but coming back to this one, Danielle and Daniel, do not fill out this form for them. I fill in the property address because I type it and then I print it and I give it to them and say, here it is, folks. Answer what you know and just identify what you don't know. You know, and some of this is real simple. Is it on a public road or a private road? Duh. If they don't know that and they've been living there, are there encroachments? Well, they may or may not know. There was a closing about a week or so ago. One of your colleagues called me up. They discovered that the neighbor's garage was about half a foot over on the subject property. What do we do? Well, you talk to the title company. This is why you have title insurance. That's why you always buy the owner's policy to correct the problem. You can get a waiver. You can get all sorts of many different remedies. So if the seller does not know whether they've got encroachments or whatever, that's fine. It'll come up during the home inspection or the title search. Okay. So they fill out all of these forms, all these questions, yes or no, and ask them to be brutally honest, you know, because if they try to hide something, it's going to come out. It's going to be revealed, especially during the home inspection period.
Do you usually look at the records of the house as well? Like if the roof had been replaced or stuff like that, like do you go and Google that stuff yourself to see if they answer it correctly?
You can, the insurance company with your client, if they're buying it, is going to want to know what's the age of the roof.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, a permit has to be pulled. So again, you can just call up the municipality or go online and find out what the permit was and when.
Okay.
Okay, it's real easy to do. Section C has been the one in the past that has caused the most confusion for sellers. And this summer, the forms committee revised this form. So the one I like is, let me scroll down here. A pool and equipment. Is there a pool? Yes or no? Well, no, there's no pool on the property. So therefore, the NA box gets checked. Is there a pool? Well, yes. Okay, is everything in working order? Yes. Is there a pool and it's not in working order? That's a no. Okay, so let them fill it out, let them check all the boxes and scroll down to the bottom and sign it. This is one of the documents that gets loaded up into Command. This is one of the documents that gets loaded up into multiple list under supplements. And if you're working with a buyer, you download it and you get your buyer client to sign it. Okay, we
Do
good?
you have a time frame to enter stuff into Command?
No, not really. I just do it to get it over with. And
Yeah, I haven't done mine yet, so I didn't know if
okay,
there was a timeline.
if it's on my checklist, I just want it off my checklist. I want it done, you know, because then if I don't do it right away, I suffer from CRS syndrome. Can't remember stuff.
Kind of
It's-
sounds like me right now with it.
That's why checklist. I live and die by these things because you'll get a phone call and then you come back and say, oh, what was I working on?
Yeah, in this
Oh,
industry
yeah.
for sure.
So that's, and I have ADD to begin with, so it's just even worse. Okay, some other residential forms. Let me go back to here. Come on. Individual forms. Okay, you're gonna make me do it that way. North Star MLS. There's your withhold. And there's your coming soon. It's coming soon. And again, you just fill it out. The property listed with us, contract date, expiration, the availability date. Now, with coming soon, you can only go out 21 days. So today is the 8th. So starting tomorrow, count out 21 days. That's the maximum. And there are no extensions. And if somebody wants to see it and you take it out of coming soon status, there is no going back. You either go active or you go temporarily not available. But you can't go back to coming soon. And the withhold MLS. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Now I even have my glasses on. Okay, there's your withhold. There is no time limit. You could literally have this listed for 6 months and never put it in the multiple list. Hopefully you won't get to that point, but yeah, here it all is. Just get the signatures. And this gets turned in with your listing to Lydia, and then she notifies the multiple list. She will actually get you an MLS number. And if you are late in getting this stuff in, they're looking at the list dates. And if you're late getting in, you're going to get fined. So get it in within the first, I think it's 48 hours. Just when you get it signed, put it into command so that Lydia, and send her an email to get it in so you don't get dinged with a fine. Okay, last one on North Star MLS is the listing input form. You've got different ones. You've got multifamily, you've got for rental, lots and land, change order, farm, mixed use, single family. I don't know why they stick this down at the bottom. And it's multi-page. It's something like 8 pages long. Some information you could take right off of the public tax record. That's why I print it out immediately, because I can then take parts out. Get your seller to sign this. A lot of this is going to come right from the public tax record. Your location, directions, your PID. You can leave this blank until you're ready. But I print this all out and I take it with me so that I sit down with them and I go, okay. Room dimensions. Oh, by the way, dimensions. Let's say the living room is 21 by 15. I put the 21 here by 15. The larger measurement first because it makes it seem like it's bigger. Okay. So you just put in all your different room dimensions. I always get them to help me. Here, you hold this under the tape measure. Structure. Oh, if square footage, be careful of your square footage. If it's not accurate, if it's not correct, if you're missing pieces, Lydia is going to come back and say, I can't submit it unless you give me this information. So again, just going through, it really helps because you're looking at the exterior. I don't remember. So sit there and do it with them. Aluminum, vinyl, stucco, heat pump, basements, parking, all sorts of stuff. Just goes on and on and on. And then if you've got some special agent remarks, the public will not see the agent remarks. That's only for us. Anything you want the public to see goes under the public remarks. Now, think of, you've heard of Madison Avenue? You know what Madison Avenue is? Okay, back in the 50s and 60s, Madison Avenue had all of the world's best, biggest, brightest marketing and advertising firms. And so think of yourself as being on Madison Avenue in an advertising marketing firm. How can I write some public remarks that are going to make this thing so sexy, so buyer enticing? You know, it's in the Minnetonka School District, the highly desirable Minnetonka School District, the sought after Minnetonka School District. Entertain on your spacious rear yard deck. Privacy galore. I mean, you know, just get real creative. Use a lot of
Basically
adjectives.
highlighting the property, right?
Highlighting the property. Be careful about anything that might offend a protected class. You know, you don't say, you know, perfect for the growing family. Familial status is a protected class.
Okay.
If you've got a big backyard, which you know the kids would love to play in, you could just say a rear yard that is just waiting for football games and badminton nets. Adults play games. Okay. So I never do anything with financial remarks. Those are all kind of passe for now. But those are all of the items that you're going to need for making sure that you've got everything included. And after it's printed, the listing is printed, you know, entered into and printed out by you, read through it again, send a copy to your seller client, say, proof it for me, make sure I didn't miss anything. I do that all the time. And actually with the public remarks, I tape it out separately on a Word document. I send it over to them in an email. And I say, proof this. Is this what you want me to say? And sometimes they'll say, no, you can't say that because we don't own that beyond the fence. I thought I heard you say that you went like 15 feet beyond the fence. Nope, 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 nope. Okay, I'm glad you found that and I can correct that. All right.
Jim,
Yes, Daniel.
I have to go back to work now, but could you send me the forms, the checklist?
Yes, sir. Send me your email.
And what is your email?
It's Jim Camarata, Camarata at kw.com.
Is there dot between Jim and
Nope.
Camarata?
Nope, I have no dots.
Okay. Yeah, I'll send you the email. Thank you so much.
All righty, you are quite welcome. Thanks for coming.
No problem.
And Danielle, this may look a little familiar. It's a little similar to the buyer consultation.
Yep.
This is for sellers. And I say, here's the buyer, the selling process. And these are all the steps. Now, this is what you're hiring me to do all this for you. And, you know, here's how you select an agent. Whoops, what happened? Here's how you select an agent. Don't hire an agent based on sales price, because number one, I don't set the market. The market sets what the price is going to sell for.
Mhm.
You set the sales price or the asking price, but the market determines the sales price.
Okay.
So we're going to do three things for you. We're going to market your property aggressively, negotiate the best terms and conditions, and follow up and follow through. And so we've got 2 pages of our written marketing plan. This we kind of call the standard marketing, and this is the specialty marketing for your property. And they look at it and they go, holy mackerel, you're going to do all that? Yeah, we are not just going to stick a sign in your front yard. That's, you know, and no, you know, the 3 Ps, put a sale on the property, put it into multiple list and pray. No, those days are gone. We're going to be very aggressive in what we do to market your property. And, you know, with the technology we have today, this is just a handful of these 400 some odd websites that we're going to be distributing to. Holy mackerel. We use photo enticing photography. We hire a photographer. We have a website. We stage, you know, and getting into pricing misconceptions. And then you got a bunch of graphs. My favorite is this one. You know, right now, today, nobody knows the property is on the market, but by tonight, when it's in multiple list, we're going to see a surge of activity because there's a lot of pent up demand right now, and we're all walking around with buyers in our back pockets. So we'll see a lot of activity, and that's when we're going to see the sales come through. If it doesn't sell because it's overpriced, it's going to sit on the market. So we're going to be chasing the market. So if you want a copy of this, I can also shoot that to you.
Yeah, that would be great if you could send this in the checklist.
Okay.
As a newer agent, I guess, what's the best way to market yourself for listings? I mean, buyers as well, but I feel like most of the time they ask about your experience and whatnot. And I know I have Ryan. If there's nothing I don't know, I have Ryan to help on that side of things. I mean, do you think like when people are looking to hire someone, it would be a turnoff for them to see that I am new and haven't had any experience? Well, not much.
My first sale way back in the day was to someone who managed the cafeteria in a building where I used to work. And I was standing there in line with my tray, and I had sent out my mailing, you know, licensed, yada, yada, yada. And all of a sudden I hear, Jim, I got your postcard. I want to buy a house. I said, I'll call you.
I'll call you ASAP.
And so, you know, she then referred me to her daughter. And so it started to get some snowball effect. But the point I want to make is if you're marketing yourself to people that already know you, you're halfway there.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of letting them know that you are now licensed. You can help them either to buy or to sell. You are not doing this all by yourself. You have a team.
Yep.
You are working with a seasoned individual. Mr. Cole knows what he's doing.
Mm-hmm.
And you've also got another team of 139, 138, taking the two of you out of the equation, another rounded up to 140. You can tell I'm a high D. Ballparking, 140 associates that also work with me.
Okay.
So I'm not alone. If I have questions, I've got a coach that I can turn to. I've got a broker who's always available. And, you know, it's not an issue. Let me
Yeah,
share with you my marketing plan.
Uh-huh. I feel like it's been going decently well. So I'm like not originally from here. I'm from Wisconsin. I just went to college here and that I ended up staying here. So a lot of my family and sphere is back in Wisconsin. I do have like all my college friends and my neighbors. So I'm just trying to figure out other ways to market myself out there for people that I don't already have relationships with. As you know, that can be a little bit more difficult.
Yeah. Well, guess who else is a transplant?
You.
I don't have those long-standing relationships. I moved here a decade ago.
Okay.
So what I did was to make it a concerted effort. Now, when I first moved here, I was the team leader. So I wasn't listing or selling property,
Okay.
but I got out and I made myself known among the realtor community so that I could start to feel like I was putting down roots.
Okay.
Then on top of that, with my spouse, I joined a gourmet dinner club. She says, you don't cook. I said, no, but you do. You know, but I can be gregarious and social.
Yeah, I need to join more stuff around here. Obviously, it's a little bit more difficult with COVID right now, but I used to play like in a indoor soccer league. So once COVID's kind of over with, I definitely am thinking about like joining like the commerce or just stuff in my town in Mound.
Yeah, I mean, get out as much as you can through church,
Mm-hmm.
whatever sport is, your favorite. I like to race sailboats. So I joined the Wayzata Yacht Club. I've made a lot of contacts through that. I love to golf. So I ended up joining a couples golf league and then a men's golf league. So I was playing a couple of times a week just with those leagues. Out of the men's league, I've already gotten some pieces of, well, let's see, 3 pieces of business.
Okay.
And all 3 are with a mortgage loan officer that I
Sounds about right.
become buddies with, And so it's just get out there. It's whatever. I got invited to play Texas Hold'em. I don't play cards. So the guy who invited me, I went to his house the night before we were supposed to play, and I had a crash course on Texas Hold'em
Oh my gosh.
and made some great connections there. So it's just getting out there, and people want to do business with people that they know.
Yeah.
And if you get an open house and people come through, again, keep in mind, the objective is to get them as a buyer or seller client.
Okay.
I'm working with 3 people as a result of my listing over in Mendota Heights. Mendota Heights!
Yeah, that's
Saw it
far.
on the map. I knew where it was. But I got the house sold, and I've picked up some potential buyers and sellers as a result of that. And you better believe I'm staying in touch with them.
Yeah.
And then figure out ways that you can stay in touch with them on a regular basis, Danielle. It's not their job to remember that you are in real estate. It's our job to remind them that we are realtors with a capital R.
I've found that on my social media, just making it seem like even when I may not be that busy, just making myself look like I'm always doing something and making myself look busy so people think I'm not just sitting around and don't have business. So that helps too. And my degree from college was marketing. So
Oh, okay, of course you know about.
that's why Ryan hired me or brought me onto his team.
Yeah. When I first got to my broker open today, I made sure that I posted out on Instagram because I wanted to appeal to first-time home buyers in that age bracket. And then I also put something out on Facebook. Come see me.
Okay.
Well, they didn't, but you know what? It didn't matter.
They still saw that you invited them and saw your name.
Yeah, and something as silly as a photo of me in the car with my new custom face mask that says Jim Camarata, Keller Williams, as a, now this is safe selling, got a lot of attention.
Okay.
That was marketing.
Yep.
So it's that. I put my clients on a 5-year client follow-up program. You know how much it costs me per year per person? $5. So you sign up for the 5 years, it's $25.
Are you talking about the smart plans in Command?
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. I've been frustrated with Command, but
I have too.
that's me. So I went back to something that was tried and true. It's a company out of Kansas called Personal Marketing Corp. So they're doing the 5-year client follow-up program for me. They're doing my newsletters now. So I just pulled together all my database mailing addresses, sent them to that. They write, they print, they mail.
And that's $5 a year?
No, the client follow-up is $5 a year.
Oh, okay.
The newsletters varies by quantity. So mine, the mailing is going out the end of this month. I didn't want to be competing with Christmas cards. So it's going to be mailed probably around the 23rd or 24th. and people should start receiving them around New Year's, somewhere
Okay.
around there. So it's written, it's on slick paper. I mean, it's quality, timely. It's not a lot of pages. It's, front and back. That's
Okay.
it. And it's mailed for me. So it might cost me $105 for a mailing.
What is the website called or the company?
Personal Marketing Corp.
Okay. Thank you.
And the postcards, oh my gosh, they are so easy to work with. I tried working with the command. It was driving me absolutely nuts. I was swearing at the computer left and right. So I thought, I forgot about personal marketing.
Command's usually down too, like it's never working.
Oh, so I went back to Personal Marketing Corp, and you pick the template. So they got a variety of, just listed, just sold, or whatever you want. And you pick it and say, okay, for the front, what do you want? And it's got the little boxes on the left-hand side. So here's the address, here's the price, and it ships it over for you automatically. The only thing you have to upload is the picture of the property, because they already have my
Okay.
contact information, my logo, my name, my phone number, everything is loaded into the system. That's been done. That was part of the
Okay.
initial setup. But everything else is there, and it's so freaking easy.
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds a lot better.
Oh my God, it is so easy. And my point of contact over there, I love her. She's the best. I will send you her contact for her.
Okay.
Her name is Afton.
Afton.
Afton, Afton. But boy, is she good. She's just jolly on the spot. And so I'm staying in touch with my past clients, because my partner preferred using email. And I was like, okay, for cost's sake. Every day I was saying, unsubscribed, unsubscribed, unsubscribed. Losing our database. What the hell is going on here? So I thought, I'm going to mail it. They can't unsubscribe me.
They can just put it in the
They'll have
trash.
mailbox, they're going to see it. And even if it's for only 6 or 8 seconds, they're going to see Camarata on there.
Yep.
And if it's a newsletter, they may stop and read it.
Okay. Or if
So-
I didn't get any other mail that day, I'm gonna look at it.
Yeah. And every month they're going to get something of value from me. I've been sending out articles. I used to write monthly articles for a local publication. And I would print it on really nice paper,
Mhm.
mail it. And, I had a neighbor say, I really like that article. He said, would you mind sending it to the guy across the street? It had to do with curb appeal.
It kind of sounds like my time when I door knocked my neighborhood and got invited into every house that I went to. And there was one house I was in there for like 3 hours, and she sent me home with a million different things. And it was a great turnout, but still, some of these people, can't believe I was in their house for that long.
Oh, the first time Carly and I went out door knocking, this lady said, yeah, I plan to sell. Come back in a couple of weeks. So we did. And we got invited in, and I went, oh,
God.
she was a hoarder.
Oh my God.
There was a passageway that wide through the living room. I said, oh my God.
So did you actually list it?
Yeah, we did. We did a withhold, and it took her
Okay.
3 months, and we found somebody else to help her declutter. And once it was all decluttered, it was a nice property, and we got it sold within about a week.
Wow.
But it was just getting all the crap out of there.
Yeah.
The day we had the photographer there, she didn't have it ready. So we're literally moving stuff from one room to another and taking stuff out of the house and shoving it into her car.
I'm surprised the photographer didn't have to like edit stuff out.
So we use a professional photographer, professional stager, professional marketing company to help us with all the stuff. You don't get a second chance to make a good first impression. Notice what shirt I'm wearing. That's Keller Williams.
I have bad eyesight. I don't have my glasses on.
Okay. So I wear my branded clothing, Keller Williams or Camarata Numeric, depending on the season and the temperature. we've got jackets, the hats.
Where do you get that stuff? I need to get some.
It depends
look
on
up
if you
line.
want just the generic. There's a company called the Red Store, RED.
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about.
Red Store. You can get all sorts of generic stuff. The custom stuff. Do I have some here? I got a hat. All right. This is the generic Keller Williams hat.
Okay.
This one is Camarata numeric with the Keller Williams on the side.
Oh, nice.
We have golf shirts, leather jackets, and what
Okay.
I'll do is I will send you Shelley's information. She's out of, I want to say Shakopee.
Okay.
She can print on just about anything.
Okay, so that's you're able to do that where you can just take the logo and put it on stuff.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, this is our logo.
Okay.
And of course we have, the generic Keller Williams and then the Keller Williams Lake Minnetonka logo.
Nice.
So Wendy can get you that information if you need to have it.
Okay.
I had our Camarata numeric logo designed for us. There was a marketing company downtown. He helped us with our logo, our whole focus, the move forward. We paid, can't remember what we paid a few shekels, may have been $5,000.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I just created Ryan and I's on Photoshop.
Yeah, well, he took us through a process because it helped us to narrow down where and how we wanted to market ourselves and present ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, the image that we wanted to convey.
Mm-hmm.
Carly is, well, she's 33 now, my daughter-in-law.
Okay.
And, so she was appealing to her age group. She's from here. And I was appealing more towards the boomer group.
Yeah, that's fine. A lot of first-time home buyers.
Yeah, the men's league, a lot of gray hair or no hair. But I tell you, it's gotten me business. I don't care whether they have hair or not or what color it is. I'm also working with 3 first-time home buyers, and just put one under contract. She's 30.
Okay.
And yet, we've bonded really, really well. And she is just beside herself with joy because we finally found and got her the house that she wanted.
No, I
So-
really like the first time home buyer sphere because I mean I just bought my first home in August too. So going through that process gave me the experience of being able to help my friends and family that are buying their first home because it's not always an easy process, but obviously we're there to make it an easy process for them. So I'm glad I had the experience of buying a home before starting real estate. It's helped for sure.
Okay, so I owe you personal marketing, Corp and Afton, the checklist, the consultation, and Shelley Jackgrows. I forget what she calls her company. She's a real sweet lady.
Okay.
But she's also very busy. So if she doesn't get back to you right away,
Just know she's busy.
she's busy and she will get back to you.
Okay.
And use my name.
I will.
We've given her a fair amount of business.
Okay, thank you.
So that's 4. Did I miss anything?
Mm-mm.
Okay. See, I have to write stuff down. I can't remember. Thanks.
I have to do the same. But thank you so much for today. It was great. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay. And don't ever hesitate to give me a holler if you need,
I
if
won't.
you get yourself stuck.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Bye-bye.
Bye.